All right, welcome everybody to this edition of CTC Live. We are here with our librarians to help answer any questions you may have about the library and how our Ovida Culp Library can actually help you as a student and actually anybody that may need their services. And with me, I have two of our librarians. One of them is Ashley Garcia. He has been our librarian for a while, and I think he helps oversee a lot of those databases and things that a lot of people look to get more information about. Yeah. And then we have our brand new outreach librarian. Her name is Jordan Davidson, and fresh into our CTC library, and so we're super excited to introduce her as a new team member. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So why don't you start telling us a little bit about, who you are in terms of the library, and what are some things that might be helpful for individuals to know that we have out there for them.
Okay. Well, you know what? Like, I'll start like I normally do, like some of my seminars, and say that basically we're here to help and support the students, especially for all their research needs. And also, just that we have a real nice place just to come be, come to be, even study and get your help. But what we tend to focus on is when you're doing your papers, when you're doing your research, and all your study needs in general, being able to provide the resources that you're going to need as far as that goes. Not just having them, but also showing you how to use them and explaining to you about them. God, we have so much stuff. I guess I could, I would say I would start say from the web page, and I'll kind of look through it. I have a list of things too, but
are you going to share do you want to share the screen?
No, it's okay. I mean, it's just a web page unless you want to, but I was going to just go through some of it. In fact, if you're on right now and you see it, you can go to the web page and see some of these things I'm about to talk about, and it also in a way it lets you navigate and go through it if you want. But one of the things, of course, we have books. We have physical paper books. Those are all up in the upstairs place, the upstairs stories, rather. That's where we keep all the physical ones. And, we have all the different databases and stuff. And during the seminars, I always mention that we have all these digital things as well. So, physical books, we have about, I think it's between 45 and about 50-something thousand books, actual physical books. And then when we have our digital books, for example, our digital articles and things like that, for the books, that's about another, say, 400,000, maybe 450,000 we have access to. As far as digital articles, digital journals, things like that, we probably have access to maybe 2 million, maybe something bigger. And so in the seminars, I always mention that if we were to actually have that physically, we would need a library probably a little bit bigger than the campus and maybe 2 or 3 stories tall to be able to physically accommodate all that. So we have a lot of resources as far as that goes. For when you're doing that, we have that available.
That's awesome. That's actually something that a lot of people don't really think about is you have the physical and maybe you go in there and you don't see that, but you still have access to all these other books that you don't even get to see when you walk in.
Right. And I think what I say as well sometimes in seminars and talking about and things like that, and just being a librarian for how long I've been, is that information is information. It doesn't matter what what physical way it's in, whether it's digital or paper or papyrus or on stone, that information is still that information. What the actual physical part is just how it's stored. In our case, we do have a lot of the paper form, but we have a massive amount of digital form as well. And so like I said, that's usually what I tell students, that information is information, and the information we have, for example, we have subscriptions for it. So we pay for this information. And I explain that, not all information is free. And maybe quality information, quality research material, someone spent hours, months, and years doing writings and research to do this. You're talking about an article that it could have taken someone 4 or 5 months to get all the data to put together. So things like that aren't free, because that's work. Someone has put an incredible amount of time and effort into this work. And that's the type of material we tend to have for our digital and things like that. And at the same time, when I talk to students in seminars, we talk about citing and doing all that, and part of that is because of the work that everyone and the people that you're referencing have done, to be able to give them credit for all the massive research and work that they did. It's part of the process too, but it's to give them due credit for what they've done. Just like if you do that work, if you do that information, how you'd like to be credited and given that information too. As far as like some of the other services, like physically there, I was talking to Jordan this morning about, we have, for example, we have a bunch of anatomical models, things like that. So like a big old, not just, I call him Professor Bones. He's a skeleton that some of the physiology and anatomy students wheel into the allied health room we have. But we have other models, like I think it's a heart. So all the parts and things like that, we have like several different ones. Although those tend to be in the reference area. So like if you come in and you want to use them for your classes, just ask for them and you can check them out. They can't leave the library. They're pretty expensive, but you can then use them as far as that goes, however you need to. At the same time, like in that area too, we have our reserve books, and the reserve books are a lot of times they're textbooks. So if you ever have trouble, like one of your classes, you're having trouble getting a textbook, you can come to us, and if we have it, you can check it out and use it for it's up to 3 hours. So that way, until that book comes in or until you can get it, you can use that in the meantime. And so we don't have every reserve or textbook, but we try to get as often as we can and as many as we can, as far as that goes.
So this is especially helpful, especially at the beginning of the semesters, when sometimes the bookstore doesn't have it available or something's going on and it might not be available for the students. At least if you need to do your homework or be able to read something, you still have the chance of going to the library and having access to these materials so that you can do some of those things.
Exactly. Yeah. Like we said, we try to accommodate as much as we can. Like I said, I've been there too. I remember sometimes when I needed to get my book for my class and it wasn't quite available yet, or it was gonna be a week and I didn't want to get behind. And you can go, at least in this case, you can go and do whatever readings you need and not worry about that too much. And then sit down. I'm looking at our website right now because there's so much. Like one of the other things I always remind our students is that, and when I'm doing the seminars, that if you don't remember anything, because sometimes there's a lot of information we present to people, especially in our seminars, that you can always come to us for help. You can chat with us. You can use our email service. You can just come on in and ask for the librarian on call if it's something of that matter. And at the same time, like with our email, things like that, we check it every day. So say it's Christmas morning, someone will check it. One of us is on call to check our email and to answer any questions. Give us a little bit of time.
But can you explain through email what kind of things can the students then get? Like, how can you help them through email on Christmas Day?
Well, for example, if they are having trouble doing their research and they cannot find it or they can't do anything, we'll try to go over that type of thing. We'll try to go whatever research they're having trouble with, or they can't find anything. We'll give them recommendations and things like that. Let me see.
How about the correcting of the papers?
Yeah, now that's a different service, although it's related. So sometimes, for example, we have trouble where someone can't log in, and sometimes they're just logging in. It's just because the way that you log into the databases is different. Then it's not Blackboard. It's different. And the instructions are there when you do it, but sometimes they don't know that, and so to help them out, just to log in sometimes. At the same time, if they are say they have an extension to the course, sometimes they might not be able to, because the way that our contracts work and all that is that things expire, and if they're not a student at the moment, it may not work. And even though we're in sometimes intercession depends on your classes, but we'll try to solve anything we can, and we'll figure out a way to get you on there some way or other. Let me see now, for the papers, that's our research paper review. So what we ask is that when you have a final, you have your final draft, to basically send it in to us, and we'll look over your citations, we'll look over your grammar, we'll look over a bit of your actual paper. I mean, your instructor is the one that actually grades that. So what we do is just make sure that we can help you with the parts that we can help you with. Like I said, especially like the citations. A lot of times when I see papers, for the most part, the writing's pretty good. It tends to be formatting, and especially like MLA or APA or that type of thing. If you don't know how to do that, or if you haven't done too much of it before, the formatting can be daunting, because you've never done it before, and so you don't know that a comma has to come after here or doesn't have to come after there, or that sometimes we have ones where they know that MLA needs to have a works cited, but they forgot that it needs to have the in-text citations to connect to the works cited. So it's to look it over and just to say, hey, you're almost there.
Yeah.
But you have a few more things to do, and part of this is following the rules and of the different things that or different ones that you've been given.
And sometimes it's weird things. Like, I know for me, when I was in college, I didn't have to worry about citing YouTube.
Right.
That wasn't a thing. But then I needed help, and I had one of the librarians here help me, because I was like, I need to cite YouTube, and I don't even know how to do that. And so one of the librarians guided me through the process and helped me figure out, oh, this is where I know, this is how you do it correctly. That was daunting for me.
And it is difficult. And the thing is, like I think the way I present it is that when you're doing these papers, if anything that you learned, say, before 5th grade, you don't have to cite it. So if you say the sun is a star, you don't have to cite that. That's common knowledge. But if you cite like what the actual exact mass of the sun is, or the exact distance it is from the Earth, or how many exact years old it is, you need to know, and you need to cite that, because it's not common knowledge. And also, again, to give a tribute and to give, credit to the people that that made that information or found that information, or where you got it from. Um, so I think that's kind of like how we explain it. And for some of it, it is difficult because, like, I used to work in a Jordan's, or just like for the fifth or sixth time in the past just 2 days. I used to work at what's called the Ransom Center at Austin, and the Ransom Center was kind of a culture center. Um, we There was a lot of items there that were like unusual if you're trying to cite them. And the one I'm trying to remember, and I could be wrong, whatever, but I think it was like a chair that was being used was this person's paper. I think it belonged to Davy Crockett, or it might have been belonged to LBJ. I forgot which one.
Some historical figure.
Right. There's a big difference between Davy Crockett and LBJ. Either way. But knows that they were using a picture of it. It's going to be in a paper, and you have to cite it. So you need to know how to cite, in that case, a picture of a chair. Although really, in that case, you're just citing a picture, where it's from, things like that. Once you start doing this, it becomes a lot easier. And I tell people that you weren't born walking, you weren't born riding a bike, and you certainly weren't born knowing how to do MLA. So don't worry if you don't know how to do it, because that's what we're here to help you, and that's what all of us are here to help you.
So we do have a question.
I saw, yeah.
It says, along the lines of research papers, do you provide resources for assistance during the research process before completing the final paper?
Yeah, like,
It says especially related to the different outlines, alphanumerical, by bibliography, etc.
Yeah, if at any point, like where you need to just have it looked at, especially if it's just the outline or the bibliography or that type of thing, you can still send it to us. We prefer the final, but if you need help, you can send it to us, or if you're already here, just come and ask for help, and we'll give you advice. At those points, sometimes I would say that we can certainly help you at those points. And I've had times where people came in and they're struggling because they know what they want to do. It's just sometimes people pick like really, really broad subjects. And when you pick a broad subject, for example, you then have to make it into the smaller subheadings and things like that. And some can be very daunting. And that sometimes will be our advice, is that, well, your topic's just way too much. It's like your topic is so big that unless you're doing an actual book, you're going to have to narrow it down a lot. But yeah, we can always come in. You can always come in and do that, and we'll try to help you out.
I think sometimes for me, like, I know when I was writing papers and stuff like that, it was that I think I have an idea and I want to put it down and make sure. Sometimes it's just making sure I'm on the right track. It doesn't mean that I don't know it, but right. I kind of put it down and I want to make sure I'm not missing anything important before I complete it or before I continue. Right. And so it's almost like an assurance check to make sure that I'm on the right path.
And especially among the along the processes, yeah. Because
I got you, Amanda.
I think, like, for me, especially when I was first in school, it was daunting because I knew what the end result was going to be, but I didn't know how to get there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we do provide that as far as, like, especially more like advice from us. Now, as far as like actual resources, we do have, like, for example, video tutorial guides that will guide you along as far as doing the research and stuff like that. I think but I completely understand. Like I said, as a student, I was there. I didn't have a clue when I was first starting. I said, I knew where I wanted to go. I knew what it's supposed to look like at the end, but how do you put all these different facts and figures and making them into like a coherent essay or paper? And The thing is, though, that is also the process. That is also what you weren't necessarily born knowing how to do. And again, when I talk about, when I go through these, when I talk about some of the seminars, some of these assignments you're given are in preparation for what you're going to be, or what you're going to do. Like a lot of the English research, things like that. These are ways that you're learning how to communicate. When you become a professional, and a lot of times, you know this one, so
I do.
how much information we have to research and gather together, and then present it to other people so that they understand what we're talking about. And these are small little projects of doing that, of learning how to communicate for what you're going to have to do eventually in a much grander and much bigger scheme of things.
I'm gonna say, because Amanda, I know that you're typing. She says she feels better knowing that she's not alone, and that she feels that we feel our pain. I will tell you, there have been times even for work, I'm looking for a specific article, and I have done this with Ash. I'm like, Ash, I'm looking for this article. I don't know which database. I know it's got to be out there somewhere. Can you help me track it down? And he's helped me figure out what databases to look in, where to go, and how to be able to get assistance so that I can get the article that I need, because they were making a reference to it somewhere else, and I was like, I want to read this article because it's important to what I'm doing in my day-to-day basis. So it's something that I did for my work right now, with what I'm doing currently, and they were able to help me. So my librarians, I love them.
It is difficult. It is a painful sometimes if you've never done it before. And no, as far as appointments, you don't have to, but you can make one if you want. And we have ways to set up an appointment. We can even give you like mini seminars if you need one. You can make appointments, and like I said, or you just drop by, and we'll talk to you and help you out. I had a train of thought of that, because as far as, like, for example, like when I was a history major, and so that involves a lot of research, obviously. One of the things I learned early, and I did it a few times. There was times, for example, like I knew what article I wanted. I didn't have any access to it. I emailed the author and asked for it. And the 3 times I did that, they sent it to me. So you can do things like that. You can, sometimes the authors, and with things like with copyright, it's their article. They're free to share it all they want. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but but it can. And that's how. And then, like other things, sometimes you can't get what you want as far as that goes. So you have to go around it. You have to think of other ways. And especially if you're doing like a paper you're trying to find this particular evidence, you're being a detective in that sort. Well, you're gonna have to start thinking of other ways to prove your point, or go around it. Like one of the databases we have, for example, is Statista. Statista is nothing but statistics on different subjects and stuff like that. And I just, when I talked about this yesterday for the different classes, sometimes, like for Statista, it's all these different numbers, but all those different numbers mean something. And I've had students that actually come in, for example, and I was looking at their paper, and I never did it, but they did. They wrote entire essays on just numbers. So they took all those numerical numbers and made a narrative and a story based on the research that they got from graphs and charts and raw data. And that's a little bit harder, and I admire people that do that, but it's completely doable. And so it's things like that sometimes you have to skirt around and go through as best as you can. to get what you need.
Can we talk
And
a
like I
little?
said-
I'm sorry.
Oh no, and like I said, for mine, for example, I would have like what I usually did when I made like an essay, for example, say a 12-page essay. I would have my introduction, and then I'd have 3 to maybe 5 different subtopics, and sometimes every now and then, like that third or fourth subtopic, it wasn't going to work right, and I just couldn't get the information I need. So then you just have to change plans and find something else that close to it. So I think always be prepared as well to change your plans.
To bob and weave.
For some, yeah.
So, with some of the databases, I know that we've had some students that maybe need help, and they've come to me specifically, and I send them your way to the library and say, "Oh, I need help with TSI, how to improve my TSI testing, or I need to take the MCAT or one of these specialized tests." And they don't know where to go to get assistance or where to get like practice tests and things like that, and that's something that you have been able to, you as librarians, right, been able to help some students with. And it's things that maybe they don't even think about, that they can get this assistance.
Yeah, like we have one database called Learning Express Library that has a bunch of different practice tests for all sorts of things. But even for like, for nursing. And for things like that. So you can go through in there, and we have a lot of other just physical books, for example, that can help you as far as that goes. So we try to actually get newer material and things like that to help you to learn well, especially if you're trying to do something like that, for skills and for tests and things like that. Yeah, because like I said, everyone that here has gone through that. I remember having to study for months and months and I can't remember the name of the test now, for when you gotta get your master's, for example. But my math, for example, was so weak, and it's always been so weak, and I had to spend months and months and months doing practice math tests. I did really well though, somehow. But yeah, we have all that available to help you. Just just ask. And like I said, no one doesn't know how it feels to have to do that, and we've all struggled, things like that. Like, I mean, as personally, I was a terrible student when I started. I barely graduated high school, mostly because I really didn't care. I was just maybe being Gen X or something, I don't know. When I got to college, I didn't quite know what I was doing. I, again, didn't care as much as I should have. So I didn't do very well. In fact, I went back to college after of all things, working at a library for about 5 years. And I kind of learned from other librarians and from things like that. And so when I went back to college, it was all so much easier for me, I guess. And I did really well after that. But I definitely understand when things seem very hard and they don't make any sense, because it's a process of learning that you got to be willing to do it. I guess that's the only thing I would say. We can't make you want to learn. We can't make you be interested in your future and what you want to do. But if you got that part, then good. That's the hard part. The rest will help you with the rest. So the self-motivation is very difficult sometimes.
All right, Amanda, thank you for jumping in really quickly. She's about to leave, but yes, this is part of the reason that we're doing this right now, is that we're coming up either in midterms or finals, depending on where you're at in your journey, and librarians are here to support you for sure. So please take advantage of anything that they can do to help you. That's why we're here for. So thank you for joining us and asking great questions. And if anybody else has any questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat. I am tracking them, and so we can go ahead and answer anything that might be that you might have as a question.
Yeah, and I know those times get so difficult. All of us do. All of us have been gone through it. Now I'm trying to think how many academic years I've been a student and a librarian, and it's more than I want to count. But it's always a little stressful no matter what side of the part you're on. And it's okay when, if it was that easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
Or everyone could get there, but it's not. So it takes a little effort. So that's okay.
And you guys also sometimes help with if students are having an issue logging into their CTC stuff. You can also help guide them through some of those processes.
Well, especially like if you're having trouble just getting into our place and into our databases. For the most part, if you need any help, we'll try to do our best we can. In fact, like some of our librarians, we take classes, so we deal and we take classes here even. So we try to help as far as like even with if we can with Blackboard or and the thing is, even if we don't know, we'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll send you to who should know. I think you should never ever have to worry about coming in here or anywhere on campus and being afraid of someone saying, well, we don't know. Well, it's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together. Your problem is my problem.
Yeah.
So we'll take care of it. So it may take a little while, and we may have to get back to you, but we'll get to it. So because, like I said, we've all had that. I know when I went to UTSA and I went to UT as well. And, even there's problems that happen. I remember I had my entire 1 year, all my classes would just disappear. Just completely disappear. So, glitches happen, things happen, but, we'll take care of it. Everyone's, for the most part, is always trying to help to make sure that everything goes okay. Let's see, I was trying to think of other things. We have a lot of other. Oh, for example, we have on our webpage these research study guides. So the research study guides they're called LibGuides for library guides. Those, for example, they're under every academic subject we have, and for your even specific classes. What it does is kind of it'll give you everything you need for research in that particular area. So like books that the librarians recommend, different even videos, the different articles, different websites that may be for that, they're very, not specific, but are very useful to that particular subject matter, that type of thing. And so we do give out seminars, and usually instructor has asked for it. But if you do need an individual one-on-one seminar, like for example, you can sign up for one on our virtual seminar, and sometimes it'll just be you and Margaret as our our librarian, our virtual librarian. She's virtual services, but I always say virtual librarian. She can give you a seminar, and she's outstanding as far as like giving you detailed information as to that type of thing and what you'll need, especially since we have a lot of people that are online and all over the world. So obviously those are our students. It doesn't matter if you're physically here or if you're across the globe, you're still our student, and we'll do the best we can for you. At the same time, like that, we have the video tutorial guides. We have a video tutorial guide like on APA and the MLA on just using our different databases. So for example, if you don't have time or you can't come into a live seminar, you can watch our videos and go over. Like I always love videos, so And the video guides, they're on our front page, so they're on our front library page, and towards the bottom it says service for students, and at the very bottom it says video tutorial guides. And like I said, you can watch them at your leisure when you want to, and that will, and you know, at the same time, if you don't see anything that, or if you see something that's missing for you as a student that you would like to see, email us and or text us or call us or come by and say hi and say, hey, I would like to see this, or I would really love it if you could do this. And we always like suggestions because it's going to help you as a student. And anything we do, we can do that make it easier on you.
I think you answered it, but can you say it again? Where do you find the video guides? Because I have somebody asking.
Yeah. So under when you go to the library webpage, they'll say library resources, and the first one it says services for students, and at the bottom it'll say video tutorial guides. Yeah, thank you, Jordan.
Yes.
So
good.
Jordan really knows a lot about it, and she's only been here for like 2 days or 3 days. Or something
I know,
like
she's already on it. This is great.
yeah, so I love that. It makes it fantastic.
My mentor Ash is really guiding me.
Yeah, although like
It's
Jordan's already knows a lot to begin with by being here, so that helps tremendously too. What else was I looking for? Oh, same time, like when we were talking about the research study guides. For example, we have a research study guide for APA, a research study guide for MLA. And you know, when we were talking about earlier, how you gotta know how to cite for certain things because you've never, like a YouTube video or whatever. Well, now one thing I'll say about that, if you use our different databases, almost everything you're gonna find in there, you're gonna find a citation for. That's gonna save you a lot of time. It's gonna save you a huge amount of headache. And you know, our resources are already like, they're peer reviewed, meaning their quality, everything else. But if you still have something else that you need to be able to create a citation for, and again, learn to make your citations. You got to learn to do it anyway. We like for that MLA style guide, or for that MLA research guide, we have and I believe Margaret created it. It is there's a list on there, one of the tabs. It will give you bunch of ways of you creating citations for just about everything you can think of, like say a court case, or a YouTube video, or a website that's not a government website, but it's a commercial website, or you know, because even a government website is not going to have the same type of citation as say one for a corporation, for example. It's pretty close, and it's funny because it's all these little things that makes a difference. But then I've been in library conferences where there's arguments and screaming matches as to where you put a period or where you don't put a period in a citation. So,
there's a quiet passion in the library world. It just simmers underneath.
I've seen one where almost like a fight broke out. It's like, you don't put a comma there, you should put a comma here. Which, like I said, very passionate librarians. I'm a system librarian, so I deal more with the computer stuff. So, and especially the catalogers are like that, where everything is perfect in order, and it better be in perfect order.
And there's that quiet passion right underneath. It better be.
It better be. Yeah. There is no room for slight variations. Although, and then, you know, it's funny I say that because, like, I used to work at Trinity University, and we had, I think at the time of the collection, it was close to 1.2 million books. Like in, say, UT, A&M, millions and millions. And this was back in the day, though, and physical paper books. Well, guess what happens if you have a certain dot in the wrong place, or something like that, and you put that book in the wrong order. Good luck finding it in a million and million of books, because chances are you may not find it until
Ever.
by accident or forever. Yeah, it's not quite the same anymore as with digital, but some things like that happens too. If you're digitizing something and you mislabel it and you put the wrong keywords and everything else, good luck finding it. It becomes the needle in a haystack. So, in a haystack the size of, well, the internet. So,
Yeah.
so things like that. So that's why in some cases like that, why they are so precise and why you need to be so precise. Um, what else? I'm just looking at study here. Um, Study spaces, we of course have those. We just want to come study. Um, we do have, and you mentioned earlier, like about the YouTube video that you were having this night. We do have 3 different databases that deals with that are film related. They're all, again, from sources that are pretty reliable and good authority. We have one called like Films on Demand, for example, and it's a lot of different videos that are from almost like academic video sources, or even from things like PBS, or from I don't know if there's any TED Talk stuff in there. They may be included in some of that. But like for example, if you had gotten that video from Films on Demand instead of YouTube, the citation would already be there
Yeah.
for you. Again, it may not have what you need though, but in that case, it's there. Most of these, or all of these videos have transcripts, so you can see what they're saying, and like cut and paste, stuff like that. I've been telling this to the 1301 seminars I did, but I don't think they do a presentation. But in those Films on Demand, you can clip little pieces from each of the films and create your own film and create your own presentation from the different things you find. So like for example, if you do have a presentation you need to make, you can incorporate these clips, for example, say in a PowerPoint or that type of thing, and incorporate them into, like I said, what you're doing. I think the only caveat that you need to be connected to the internet and then log in, because they're all copyrighted resources and they need to be able to kind of verify that you're allowed to use it.
So this is kind of one of those hacks, right? Like if you think that you're going to need a video, or maybe you want to try to take advantage of a situation, go to the places that already give you the citation and you just copy and paste it, versus trying to have to figure out. If you have to figure it out some other way, you're going to have to do it. But if you don't have to, this is one of those things that can help save you time and mental,
Right.
breakdowns and stuff like that.
And I felt it's gonna, like, especially if you're starting these, kind of like using training wheels when you're riding a bicycle. It'll help you to give you time to start learning how to do full-on MLA or APA citations, where you just get used to it. But it give you a little bit of a break. And like I think, like for example, when I started for my academic career for history, I struggled with a 4-page essay. I think my senior essay was 80 pages, something like that. And I tell people, of course it's gonna be hard, but once you start doing it, once you start learning, it becomes easy. It becomes second nature, and it's going to get a lot easier for you. So, like I said, I say that a lot just to reassure people: give yourself time. Don't be so hard on yourself if you can't get it right away, or if it feels so hard. And especially that I say that to people that they're very used to doing things that come easy to them, because they got used to doing things that are easy to them. And it's okay if it's hard for a little bit. You'll get back to that point again too. Don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up for not knowing what you don't know how to do, because I mean that's just the way it is. I also recommend that, like, when you're in these things, when you do have like this academic process you go through, save the research you're doing, because you know what, you could use it for something else, for another project. Build upon those projects. What I did for mine is I just kept on building upon the same project over and over again, so that by the time I was in my senior year, and for my senior paper and all that, I'd already done a lot of the research because I had been doing it for the past 3 or 2.5 years. And so I just kept on doing it. And like, for example, all these databases, a lot of the other colleges will have them, especially some of the bigger ones we have, like Gale and ProQuest, and those are the publisher names. You can create an account on here, save all that work, keep it with you, and kind of think ahead. In this case, even sometimes think a year or 2 ahead of what you're doing. Plan. And all this stuff is to make sure that you're giving yourself enough time and doing all this stuff for time management. Because that's, I think for me, for example, like when I was in college, time management was just hellish until I learned how to do it. Mm-hmm. And stop doing things that are taking up your time or when there's no reason it needs to. Like, for example, with books, when I tell students with books that you don't have time to read a 400-page book on a 5-page essay. Go into that book, use the index. You should know the vocabulary of what the research you're doing. Look for the key elements in the different index in the pages, and see how that book's going to help you within 10 minutes time, maybe 20 minutes. Don't fall in a trap of just getting stuck looking for research that shouldn't take you very long to do. Once you know how to do it. At first, yeah, give yourself time. I'd like to do all, but keep in mind that time management part. I think that a lot of times I see it, and what happened to me is like, that can really derail things when you don't have your time planned out right. And like I said, that's just, I guess this is part of college too, is learning to manage all those different things like that. What else? I mean, there's a lot. Any other questions at the moment?
I don't have any other questions specifically, but I was wondering if maybe I could tag in Jordan, and maybe I know she's fairly new and she's still learning everything, but is it possible to maybe get like your success tip as a librarian, just like a very generic for our students or anybody that's interested in using the services of the library?
Yes, of course. I'm basically going to piggyback on all of that what Ash has said in this episode. But in a hashtag, use your librarians as a resource. They will save you so much time. We just have, we've obviously gone through school just like they are now. And then also we've had to study kind of the intricacies and the nuances of the style guide and also searching the databases. So if you're wanting just kind of like the fast track, if you want a great hack, actually use the librarians. Don't even waste your time going through the system. Just ask us, because we're there to help you. And that's going to be your fastest track to getting things squared away. Because I know it can be frustrating sometimes when you're searching for things and you can't find them. And we're here, sitting here, and we know exactly where to go for those resources you're looking for.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have legitimate, incredible research that you turn into your professors when you go this path, as opposed to just Googling everything.
So before Google, there was librarians.
Yeah.
And a Dewey Decimal
System.
System.
Your librarian as your Google. It's your librarians are your Oracle for your research papers and your stuff you need to submit.
And those are yes to all, because I am very much a fan of knowledge, just general knowledge. I think in another lifetime I could have been a librarian. And so I enjoy being able to have access to knowledge. And that's really what you guys do. In a lot of ways, it's being able to ask finding out where to find information and being able to know what questions to ask. That's what I'm trying to say. And so I do think that has an extreme value, that a student that goes and talks with a librarian and tries to figure out life that way, or how to handle their classes, is to me is automatically going to be that much more successful, because they're going to have everything at their fingertips. So make the librarians your friend, guys. That's all I can tell you, is make a friend. They have the access to the knowledge, and even the things that you sometimes don't even think about, they have it. So anyway, that's just me now in my little soapbox, because I love me a library.
And I would say, especially with our databases, they're not Google, in that when you have to search them, you got to be a little bit more precise. You can't say, bring me or get me this type of information, like it doesn't quite work that way. And mostly because it is the way, the nature of the beast as far as databases go. So, like I said, they're just a little bit different. And like I said, we deal with them all the time. We've dealt with them all the time. So we're a little bit better at knowing where to look. And sometimes, I would even say this, knowing when your search may not be very fruitful, and that you may be wasting your time. And that's when I always really hate to tell people that, you're just, this isn't going to cut it. But sometimes it is the case. And instead of spending the next 2 weeks on finding something that you're not going to ever find, we can help you
redirect, right?
Redirect, yeah. And it happens. Like, it happens to me. Happened to me all the time. It's just the way it is that sometimes. I think that part of it is, being able to know, and that comes with experience, when something is going to be worthwhile or when something is going to be futile. And like I said, that mostly tends to come with experience as far as that goes. Like one time I remember, sometimes searches can be very difficult, and I think one of the things that always reminds me of, I was helping students with, it was a short story, I think it was The Yellow Wallpaper. And the yellow wallpaper, because at the time it kept on bringing on things about wallpaper, as in actually handyman stuff. It was like hanging up wallpaper and glues, and and the person was having such a hard time at the time, and I was thinking, I understand why, because what you're typing in, you're going to bring up things for materials and how to, as a skill, not the actual story. So, for example, in the yellow wallpaper, when we were talking about that, who are the characters? Who's the authors? What else is going on in the story? You're using the wrong keywords in this case. Let's get to the other parts of the thing to bring it up instead of, actual going to Lowe's and having to hang up wallpaper. So, like I said, one of the things that we have is experience, and use our experience. We've been there,
and honestly, a lot of the stuff that you learn with a librarian in terms of looking stuff up in databases and stuff, it still works when you go back to Google. Because I know that for me, I took library classes, like in high school or in elementary school, they taught us how to look things up into that was books and all of that. But those skills are really what make me understand Google, because I know what search item to look for, because we're looking for not just, am I including the subject, the name? Like, these are skills that can help you even in your everyday life, learning how to look stuff up in a library or a database.
Right. Or just in general, I mean, you know how it is, how once you get to a certain level, you're constantly doing different types of research anyway. And you need to be able to know where to look and how to look and what resources are good and what resources are bad. and that's just part of the process too. So.
I was gonna ask if you could just touch briefly upon, how the library here at Central Texas College is available to students, but not just to students. And how does it connect to the community in general?
Okay. Well, I mean, anyone can come into the library, whether you're a student here or not. Anyone can come in and get our help, whether you're a student or not. Anyone can come use our resources. Not the actual. No, it does become a little bit different. Like, for example, using databases and things like that. Some of it is copyrighted, and we have contracts that require that you be a student, but not for like asking our help. Not for just coming and being at the library. Just to be here. The community is always and completely welcome. This is you're part of us, and we're part of you, and you are more than happy to come be here and do all that. So, anything you need that we can help you with in our reach, then we'll definitely help you with, and that type of thing.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure we put that out there, because I know that sometimes I've had people say, oh, well, I don't go to CTC, but I have a question. I'm like, well, did you try our library? And they're like, but I don't go there. I can't go there. And I'm like, no, you can still go.
Yeah.
You can get some basic stuff. Like, there's more to it.
Welcome to help. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I need to remind people that Margaret, our other librarian, is having workshops on MLA. And if you go to our webpage, let's see, we can ask about it. But she has for the next few weeks, I believe, next week, where she's having special workshops. Just if you're having trouble with that, she reminded me to remind everyone about that.
Yeah.
She's been she just mentioned that, so. I'm surprised she didn't come in here and mention it, but I think she's up for it. That's fine.
So, how do the students figure out what these workshops are? Yeah. How do you see about the workshops? See, I'm right there with you, T. Lewis.
You can email us, and I think I'm looking on our events calendar. Hold on real quick.
I just posted the link.
Oh, good. Thank you. See, Jordan.
She's on it.
Knows.
So you just need to scroll down a couple. You go right to the events calendar for library events, and then you scroll a little bit. You can see the MLA workshops at library and online. They're offered both. So if you can't make it to the campus, you can also get online, Margaret. And
Margaret loves doing them. She does. She loves MLA stuff and APA. She loves citations. I'm not being funny. It gives her great pleasure to tell people about MLA and things like that. She is fantastic. She reads MLA books and APA books for fun. I'm not kidding. And she's become quite an expert on things like that.
She's the one who helped me figure out YouTube.
See? So she would know. And so, like, if you need help like that, yeah, we're all willing to help. Margaret just super willing to help. And actually gets super joy out of it, too.
Yes. So. Yes, we love Margaret. Margaret's amazing. Mm-hmm. And she gets very excited about decorating, too.
Yes, she does.
Y'all need to go and say hi to Margaret. Anybody who's watching this, just say, I've watched a video and they were talking about you. Just tell her that, and that's okay.
So.
Yes.
And I think that's about. There's so much more I guess I could talk about. I just.
No, we don't have like a ton of time. We're almost out of time. But any last tips or anything that you guys, either or both of you, would like to make sure that students are aware of, specifically students at this point, because finals are coming, and or midterms, right? Like we're getting to those points where people start stressing about, am I doing things correctly in class? Am I studying correctly? Am I doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing? So,
even just thinking about it gives me a headache.
I know, right?
What they're thinking of. But my advice: give yourself plenty of time. if you think something is going to take 2 days, give yourself 3. I know your people are only limited to a certain amount of time because that's all they got, but don't underestimate the time that you have, because it's going to go by. You know that so quickly that, and then what? Then it's too late. So give yourself time.
That's a good one. How about you, Jordan? Do you have anything? Oh, you're talking to Kate. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I'm looking for the microphone. I guess you said something about midterms and finals are coming up, and the library is a great place to study because it's a great space that's quiet and it has the resources. So if you just need a change of places, scenery, you should come and study for your midterms or finals in the library.
Yeah, that's awesome. And last thing, because I always want to highlight this. I know you briefly mentioned the Allied Health Room. Can you talk a little bit, because you mentioned a few things, but this is really, really way more than what, you can see the heart, you can see the skeleton, all this stuff. But this is a room that every time I go in there, I'm like impressed by all the things that are in there, because they're not my thing. So I get impressed, that they're not my strength. Ash, do you have any, or Jordan? I don't care. No.
I'm gonna let Ash do that because I haven't even used the Allied Health Room yet.
Is it the Allied Health Room? Is that what you're talking
Yes.
about? Yes. Yeah. That's the one for. Yeah, that has it, and that's right as you. Well, come in, turn to the left.
Yes. But that one's got. You can do simulations and stuff in there, can't you? Like there's.
Oh, well, we do have, like, for example, it's called Visible Body.
Yeah.
That's what it's a database. And it is, I like using it because I don't know why. It's just, but you'll see all the parts of the body where you can go into bone and muscle, and it's all, like, visual. And I don't know why I like that. I'm not a nursing student, but it's interesting to see all the anatomy. And yeah, it's called Visible Body, and it's an interactive virtual anatomy software type of thing. It's really neat. So yeah, give it a try.
So anybody's interested in the health sciences, if that might be something to go check out, because everybody has to take that anatomy and physiology. That's a lot. That can be a lot.
Yeah, and that's what it was meant for, is to help with that, because that can be daunting.
Yes.
I never took it, but I've heard stories where, yeah. Although, you know why I like it? It's interesting because I think like with the body, I like geography too.
Oh.
And it kind of reminds me of that, saying, oh, okay, so that's where, that's where like that state is. Well, in the body, that's where that muscle is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I think
yeah.
of the body is like a
map.
Parts of the world, and the different states and countries are different things on the body. So that's why it relates to me.
That's kind of fun way of looking at it. Okay, well, thank you to everybody that's participated. I appreciate very much all the participation we had and the questions. Thank you to our librarians. Welcome aboard, Jordan. We're super happy to have you here. And Ash, you know that I'm always enjoy talking to you, so we could talk for hours on end. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But thank you to everybody. Go to the library, go check them out, talk to them, make a friend in the library, because they're going to have the info for you. And I hope that everybody here has a great day. See you next time.
Thank you.